Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel Learn with Virali. I'm Virali, your guide on this PMP adventure. If you are new to my channel, I'm Virali, a certified PMP professional helping people to pass their PMP exams on the very first try. So if you are not subscribed to my channel yet, please make sure to subscribe as it helps me to create more such kind of videos and offer help to the community. So have you also seen the posts like pass my PMP with 380 on the very first try? As soon as you open up maybe Reddit, maybe LinkedIn, or any other social media platform which possibly allows certain group preparations, and then feel overwhelmed sitting and saying to yourself, I have a full-time job. Maybe even these guys also have a full-time job, but they are still able to manage it. And how can I do it to pass the PMP on the very first try, again with 3 above targets in all the 3 domains? So today I'm here with a full plan of 30-day routine that you can follow in order for you to pass the PMP exam at the very first try, again with that 3 above targets in all the 3 domains. I did have a full-time job, so did many of my students have in 2024 and 2025. Again, all of us did follow this 30-day schedule, which helped us to take one step at a time and then reach towards the finish line, passing it with 380. So, if you are just starting out or stuck in the middle, sitting overwhelmed, probably thinking and wondering the exact strategy that could help you out to pass your PMP exam, you are in the right place. So, let's get started. Understand the daily schedule, which I and many others followed the same while dealing with a full-time job and still getting ready for the PMP exam. So I have 3 different portions here that I wanted to talk about, which I have divided into learn, practice, and review. Here is how I broke up, making it more simple, more realistic, and super effective. So 1 hour of learning is where I watched 1 to 2 structured video lessons, usually focused on different topics coming in either from Agile or from stakeholder engagement or risk analysis, so that I understood the topic perfectly fine, took some notes if needed just for me to come back and revisit it later on, and then I started doing 1 hour of practice. That's where I solved couple of questions, probably like 20 to 30 questions, just so that I can test my learning on. And practicing under pressure definitely trains your brain to think like PMI. Now, the last part here, which is review, is the most effective part, which most of the people skip, but I didn't skip it, and that's where the magic really happened. So I reviewed every answer that I got wrong, understanding why did PMI choose the correct answer, just for me to understand how to basically think like PMI does, and eventually ending up selecting that correct option choice when I revisited it again. Now let's have an overlook onto weekly study plan, typically helping us to have a 4-week study plan in place. This is what I call it as a momentum method, as it is structured enough to build your confidence step by step every week for next 4 weeks. So for week 1, I have Agile and Basics, which is where we'll have 1 hour per day, which is where we're going to learn different topics which are a part of Agile project management approach. Then practice questions as we discussed in the last slide in order for us to test our learning on, and then 30 minutes of the review again to understand which questions did we do wrong, potentially take a note of those questions along with why were those questions wrong in terms of our understanding to basically think like how PMI does, just so that we would eventually end up selecting the correct option when we will revisit it later on. As a part of second week, we'll come back to stakeholder and mindset understanding. So that's where we are going to go ahead and adopt the PMI collaboration team building style, again solving 50 questions just for testing our understanding on, and then potentially reviewing again. That's where we are going to be following the same approach, that is learn, practice, and review. Please don't forget to add the review part to your preparation sessions, just so that it is easy for you to remember your mistakes, just so that you don't make them again. As a part of third week, we are going to start practicing the full mock tests. That's where those 50 to 60 questions would come in as a part of 1 hour practice sessions. Again, reviewing the correct answer and the ones that you did wrong, why were those wrong, and then basically learning from your mistakes. Now, coming on to week number 4, which is where we'll take full mock tests. That's where we'll allot those 180 questions to be solved at a single setting. And then we'll review the gaps that we have. So this is where we are going to simulate the actual exam, pretty much solving 180 questions, basically twice, under the real testing conditions, applying a timer on it. So this is where we are going to identify the weak spots. Maybe it may come around like cost, it may come around risk, it may come around procurement, and eventually we'll close those gaps later on, understanding what are we still missing in order for us to pass this exam with 3 above targets. So this is no new content here, just maybe refine your strategies and polish your topics by understanding those again, reviewing your mistakes. So here is the real tip that the exam passers who took the exam recently shared with me. And I also believe that those are the most important ones for you to consider. So you don't have to just believe my words, but instead just pay attention to these 3 most important tips that I wanted to share. PM mindset is always going to play a major role, definitely, as this is not a memory test. Instead, it is helping you to think in a way how PMI thinks. So thinking like a leader is going to help you resolve different case scenarios that you would be presented with, and as a result, you would be reaching towards the correct answer. Always remember to review why a particular question was wrong, understanding the reason rather than memorizing the answer out of the given option choices. Understanding why is going to play a major role in passing this PMP exam with above targets in all the 3 domains. In 2025, though some of you may think that these are a very similar list of topics or the scenarios that we are supposed to remember, but I wanted to share a few details across these topics that I have listed over here. In terms of situational scenarios, I wanted to say you will get scenario based questions a lot. Typically, I would say they dominate the 180 set of question set given or presented to you in the actual exam. So basically, those questions are given to you as a part of different scenarios, testing your understanding and your knowledge in terms of how you're going to handle teams, how you're going to handle conflicts, or maybe the changes that are given to you in terms of the requirements midway during the sprints. Next, and the most important one, is less ITTOs and more judgment. So instead of what is in the input, expect what should the project manager do next. That is something that I wanted to highlight typically over here, as remembering those ITTOs is definitely going to be a more of a memory game, but there are not questions in terms of what comes next as a part of this particular ITTO. Instead, what should the PM do next is something that has been always asked in the questions. Lastly, there are more drag and drop questions, or I would say more graph based questions in terms of multiple responses or maybe multiple choices that you are supposed to solve. So in this case, I would say practice is going to make you perfect. So get familiar with the interface ahead of time. PMI wants to test how you think and not just what to remember. These are some key takeaways that I wanted to share with you today. So, if you have made it this far, I understand that you are very serious passing your PMP exam and scoring above target in all the three domains. So, here is my challenge to you. Write down in the comment section below following this 30-day plan saying, I'm starting today, and I'll reply you back with more tips and some useful resources which are definitely free of cost in the comment section below with you. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel for weekly mock walkthroughs, and definitely like this video if you found this helpful, and don't forget to share it with your study buddy. Let's conquer PMP one day at a time. See you in the next video.